Okay, you guys, so we are in our final day of this current phase 6 of training. So you guys have gone through, oh my gosh, you've gone through your rep ranges of 15, you've gone through your rep ranges of 10 to 12, and now we're in that lovely sweet spot of the 8 to 10 rep range. So of course, we're gonna go into our mobility and then 2 rounds of our 3 exercises and then finishing off with our finishers. And today we're gonna really focus on building a little bit more strength, so going a little bit heavier here. We also have a isometric hold that we're implementing here for our hip thrust. So you can do this with either dumbbells or barbells, but we're gonna do a 60-second hold, really focusing on the muscle contraction and the mind-muscle communication, and really getting those glutes active and engaged, which is definitely gonna serve us as we go into this next phase, starting after this current phase is done. So the equipment that you can anticipate to have and have prepared for this is going to be your dumbbells, of course. If you have a barbell and a pad to put around that barbell, you're definitely going to want to have that handy. If you don't have a pad, then I would recommend having like a towel and folding that up a few times. Make sure you have your resistance bands, and let's get this party started. Let's start with mobility, and we'll see you in a second. All right, so let's get started with our mobilization. We're gonna start with a little bit of a good morning. So usually what I love to have, if you are doing body weight only, that's fine. You can have your hands behind your head, but I also really like having a dowel for good mornings, or like a long stick that weighs pretty much nothing. That's just kind of helping to keep your chest elevated so you can get into your full good morning position and get a stretch out of your hamstrings. So in this case, I don't have just a stick, but I do have a very light dumbbell or barbell, excuse me. So this is about 10 pounds. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring this and rest it right there on the top of my shoulders. I'm gonna pinch my shoulder blades back. And good mornings essentially are having a very small bend in the leg. So we're not hyperextending the knees. We're keeping like a very small bend. We're keeping our back super straight, and we're essentially getting a little bit of a stretch in the hamstrings. So I'm gonna keep my feet about a fist width different distance apart. My pelvis is tucked under. I'm keeping my chin tucked into my chest here. And I am just thinking about shifting my hips back, getting a stretch underneath my glutes here, and then thinking about driving those hips forward and squeezing at the top. Notice that I am not shifting my hips all the way forward, because I actually start putting a lot of load in my lower back. I wanna stop right here at the top, keeping the glutes and abs engaged. So we're just gonna go for 10 like this, finding that really lovely stretch in the hamstrings. So we're gonna inhale, nice straight spine, finding that stretch in the glutes, and then driving those hips forward, squeezing glutes and abs at the top. Chin stays tucked into the chest. So I inhale back and exhale to come forward. I'm not trying to rush it here. I'm really trying to find that stretch as deep as I can go, slight bend in my knees. So I'm not hyperextending, I'm just allowing the knees to kind of stay stacked over the heels. Beautiful. I'm not even really thinking about rotating out through my hips or squeezing my heels together. I'm just going back and forward. Let's go 3 more like this. Inhaling back, exhaling to come up. A couple more. And exhale, beautiful. Last one here. Woo-wee. And coming all the way back up, and then gently bringing that guy up and over, and you can place it to the side if you do have a bar or a dowel. If you don't, you can just do with your hands behind your head, it's fine. So from there, we're gonna go right into plank shoulder shrugs. So again, with this one, we're really just looking to get this activation happening with your shoulder blades and your chest. So as we let the shoulders shrug, we are actually engaging between the shoulder blades. As we push them apart, we're engaging the chest muscles. So we want to be able to be efficient in both directions here, especially as it supports any sort of push or pull movement pattern. So from here, we're going to go into our plank position, heels squeeze together, pulling up through those knees, pelvis tucks under, abs are engaged, shoulders are engaged, fingers are spread wide, pinching my shoulder blades together, and then pushing all the way to squeeze. Inhale, exhale. Thinking about keeping my abs nice and tight. Full range of motion as much as I can. Keeping my shoulders down away from my ears. Going for 4 more like this. Pinching shoulder blades all the way together and then separating. So shoulders and then chest, last 2. Last 1. And then I'll sit it back real quick and give my shoulders a stretch. Hips stay high. And then we're gonna move into what we call a reverse plank hold. So for this one, we are really trying to activate the full back line of our body, so the full like fascial line of the posterior chain. So we will sometimes do this as an up and down motion. Today, as we mobilize, we're just gonna start with a static hold to kind of get that activation going through our body. So you're gonna take your hands and place them right behind your butt. Your fingers are gonna be facing towards your hips. Feet are together. You're gonna think about pulling your shoulder blades back, pushing your chest up towards the sky. Head can be in alignment with your spine here. So my head is actually tucked slightly under, my chin is tucked a little bit. From here, I'm just going to drive those hips up towards the sky, pinching my shoulder blades back and allowing my head to kind of rest a little bit in a straight line. If I need to do this because there's any sort of strain in my neck, I can, but I'm thinking about keeping my rib cage down, engaging through my glutes. I'm actually kind of going into a pointing with my toes, and I'm thinking about activating the entire back line of my body. So from here, we'll just do a few breaths, inhaling through the nose. Exhale, engaging glutes and abs, inhaling through the nose. Exhale. 1 more, just like this. And then slowly sitting the butt back down. We can kind of give ourselves a little bit of a stretch forward, just kind of reversing that movement pattern from the shortening at the lower back. And that's it for our slight mobilization. So now we're gonna get into our first round. We're actually gonna start with a single leg deadlift to reverse lunge. So some of these activations of the posterior chain are gonna be very helpful as we go into that first exercise. So again, we're going with lower reps, a little bit heavier weight, and kind of go through what you might need for this, and we'll see you in just a moment. All right, let's get into it, going into our very first round. So we're gonna start with a single leg reverse lunge to single leg deadlift. So you're gonna wanna have 1 dumbbell for that. And from there, we're gonna go right into dumbbell or barbell overhead press. We're gonna be in a standing position or seated if you really need to. And then finally, we're going to go into straight leg tricep dips if you are able to do this. So we're definitely progressing the intensity here. And so we'll start with our reverse lunge to single leg deadlift. And what we'll want to do for this is holding 1 dumbbell in the opposite arm from the leg that's standing. So as I get myself set up here, I'm thinking about shoulders pinching back, standing leg is slightly bent, pelvis is tucked under. I'm already engaging in my lower abs. And from here, we're just gonna take an inhale. We're gonna go for 10 reps in either exercise. So we're gonna go from a reverse lunge to single leg deadlift. We're doing that 10 times on either side. So here we go in 3, 2, 1, going into that reverse, coming all the way up, really squeezing and engaging that glute, right into deadlift, and that's 1. And then right back, deadlift, 2, right back, and deadlift, 3. Again, if you're having a hard time keeping your balance still with these single leg deadlifts, you can always go into your B stance position, which would look like this, and then you would just go right into that reverse lunge and then B stance. Good. So we got 3 more on this side. Every time I come back up, focusing on engaging glutes and abs here, inhaling back, exhaling up. Last one here. And these are gonna be fun. Let me tell you, I already feel that glute contraction happening. So setting up on the other side, standing legs slightly bent, abs are tucked under, glutes are engaged, shoulders are pinched back, head stacked on spine. Here we go. Reverse lunge and single leg deadlift. Reverse and hinge. Good. As I'm going through these 2 movement patterns, really keeping that knee stacked right on top of that heel. So allowing the hip to shift back, which keeps a slight bend of that front knee. Good, we got 3 more to go on my count. On this side, definitely feeling that compounding movement pattern right underneath the glute and in the hip. Good, we got 2 more here. Last ones. Woo! It's gonna be a spicy one. It's gonna be a spicy one. Okay, so now we're gonna go right into overhead, either dumbbell or barbell press. I'm gonna show you guys with the dumbbell first so you can get a sense of it. And then we will go right into our tricep dips, which will be fun. So for this one, I'm gonna have us kind of in this middle range positioning with our hands. So to get those dumbbells up safely, you're just gonna kick them up onto the shoulders. And instead of being neutral here or out to the side, I'm gonna have us kind of in this little midway point. So instead of there or here, we're gonna be halfway. So pelvis is tucked under, rib cage is down. We're gonna go for 10 here to start. In 3, 2, 1. Exhale to press. Slowly release it down. 2, 3. Glutes and abs are engaged the whole time. 4, 5, 6. Here we go. 7. You got it. 8. Keep breathing. 9 and 10. And then slowly bringing those back down. Excellent. All right, a little warm-up set, right? And then from there, we're moving right into our tricep dips. So we've been doing these with bent knees for a bit now, and I would love for you guys, if you haven't already, start doing it with straight legs and doing as many as you can, right? So the further away our legs are, or the more weight that is further away from the midline of our body, which would be kind of here, the harder it's gonna be. So when you have your feet closer to yourself and the bench, it's gonna be easier. As you extend out, it's gonna be a little bit harder. So there's also like a little mid-range that you can do here as well. So this would essentially be your first level, right? If you wanna kind of go between levels, you can straighten out one leg and kind of have a little bit like of a half weight that's extending out, right? And then if you're ready, you can go for those 2 weights. However, you want to make sure that your spine is straight the entire time. So what I'm not doing as I'm placing that leg straight, I'm not doing this with my body, right? I am keeping my butt pushed back, shoulders are pushing back, and I'm going to drive those elbows straight back behind me and then pushing straight back up. So let's get it started here. We're gonna go for 10 in 3, 2, 1. So elbows go straight back, right back up. And I'm thinking about dropping my hips straight down towards the ground. This is 5 and 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And sit it down. Ooh-wee. All right, so if you guys have tightness in your chest, you're gonna feel some heat in front of those shoulders. So we're really thinking about driving that chest forward, thinking about lifting the sternum up towards the sky, keeping those elbows going straight back to really keep our shoulders safe in this position and start building that strength of the front of the shoulders and the triceps. So that's our first round. Now you guys know what to expect. So take a little bit of a break here, grab some water, think about what you want to do for your next round with weights and everything, and we'll see you in 90 seconds. All right, you guys, here we go, round 2. So we're going into 8 reps for the single leg reverse lunge to deadlift, and then 8 reps for our overhead press. So you guys can think about going a little bit heavier if you would like, but we're gonna stick with our 10 reps for our tricep dips at this time. Okay, so whatever leg you started with last time, go ahead and think about switching sides, right? Getting that opposite leg into the dominant state. So starting with our knees slightly bent, glutes are engaged. So you can see that I hope you can see this. When I'm standing like this, there's no glute engagement, right? My pelvis is tilted back slightly. When I tilt my pelvis under, I'm now actually engaging fully in my glute. Like it is engaged. My lower abs are also engaged here. So if you guys aren't starting with that, every time you go into any sort of single leg movement pattern, you got to get your brain kind of working to do that, because that's going to set up to have a really stable spine, engaged core, and active glutes. So let's get into it here. Going into 3, 2, 1, reverse lunge, squeezing at the top, deadlift, squeezing at the top. Here we go. For 2, and 3, and 4. Here we go. Every time I exhale, thinking about engaging the abs and the glutes at the same time. Nice, because they are working very hard to get me back up to that standing position. We got 2 more on my count on this side. Last one. And switch sides. Wow, I feel it so much right underneath my butt, which is awesome, also challenging. Okay, here we go. So standing legs slightly bent again, find that glute and ab contraction, shoulders are back and down, rib cage is in, head stacks. My chin is actually slightly tucked here in 3, 2, 1, reverse, and hinge. Finding that solid contraction every time you come back up to standing. So almost the distance between your hip and your lower rib here shouldn't change at all throughout the movement pattern. It stays super engaged, and that's really all due to keeping your core contracted as much as you can. There we go. We got 2 more. Keep breathing. Last one. And great job. Put that guy down. Ooh. And your glutes should feel very able to stabilize yourself for the overhead press movement that comes afterwards. So as we get into the next one, I'm going to show you with a barbell. So you can do this with a straight bar, or this is called an easy bar. I love easy bars for anything that is bicep curls or overhead presses, because it allows for this different curvature that feels a little bit better on the shoulder joint, and it just feels more ergonomically correct. So I'm going to show you guys with the easy bar. So to get it up, I'm going to have a little bit of a hop and then bring it right up to my shoulders. My elbows are going to go forward here, so it's a slight variation, but it's closest to what we just did in our first round. So from here, everything else is the same. So my pelvis is tucked under, rib cage down, glutes are super engaged here. I'm going to inhale through the nose. Come on and join me. Exhale, pressing overhead, rib cage stays down at the top. Inhale here, exhaling up. So we're going to go for 8 total. This is 3, 4. I'm coming all the way down with that bar. 5, 6. Here we go. Glutes are engaged the whole time. 7. Last one. 8. And then slowly bringing it back down. You do not want to just throw it over. Promise. That's when we get injured. Okay, so going from there right into our dip. And this guy, after our shoulder press, is gonna feel harder. So these two, they are paired for a purpose. Purposeful pairing. Okay, so getting ourselves set up, thinking about pushing that bench away from you, shoulders pinched back, chest is lifted here, right? Thinking about dropping your tailbone directly down towards the ground. In 3, 2, 1, elbows go straight back, exhaling up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Thinking about pushing that bench away from you. Chest stays up the whole time, shoulders pinching back, trying not to let them squeeze up towards your ears. Into, last one, and relax. Great job. You can kind of shake out your wrists here, and then you can also move into a lovely little pull here for your lats and your triceps, a little bit of a stretch. Not holding too long, just getting a little bit of movement into that area. And round 2 is done. So So grab some water, let your heart rate calm down. Think about what you want to do for our third set, and we'll see you in 90 seconds. All right, you guys, here we go. Round 3 for these. So let's get the glutees engaging. So go ahead and start with the opposite side that you started with last time. So you'll be most likely starting on your dominant side. So again, find that glute contraction, lower abs are engaged, rib cage down, like you know all the things. And here we go in reverse lunge, 3, 2, 1. Taking your step back, locking it at the top, single leg deadlift, coming back to standing. This is 2, and 3. Good, really just focusing on that squeeze, seeing if you can ask, if you can request that the glute, hamstring, and core, or your abs, are doing the majority of the movement pattern here. The majority of the contraction. Good, 2 more. Last one. Woo! Spicy, little spicy, like a little hot tamale. Okay, here we go. Standing legs slightly bent. Glutes and abs are engaged. Rib cage, shoulders. 3, 2, 1. Reverse lunge and squeeze. Good. Keep it going. This is 3. Focusing on that glute, focusing on the contraction, squeezing the glutes and abs at the top, using your breath to solidify that engagement. Inhaling back, exhale to squeeze. Last 3 on this side. Good, 2. And 1s. Good job. Bet you're glad that's not a 15 rep one, huh? Bet you glad? Me too, I'm also glad. Okay, let's go into the next one. All right, so moving into our overhead press, either with your dumbbells or your barbell or your easy bar if you have one. Getting ourselves set up, so glutes and abs are engaged. Slowly bringing that bar up, elbows are in front. Nice straight wrists, here we go. Abs tight, 3, 2, 1. Exhale to press overhead. For 2, 3, and 4. Here we go. Keeping the glutes engaged, knees are soft. Last 2. Last one here. And slowly bringing that weight down with control. Woo-hoo. And here we go, right into our dips. Exciting times. Getting ourselves set. So finding that positioning of the hands. Hands should also be positioned, let me give you guys a little bit of a different view here. Hands should be positioned right next to your glutes. You'll notice that when you're watching me do this movement pattern, my elbows are not flaring out to the side. They are directed straight back, also opening up through the chest. If your body has a hard time doing that, it's because your chest is tight. So we got to stretch out your chest a little bit between these sets. So you can always do a little bit of a chest stretch, and I'll show you that right after we're done here. So moving into position, shoulders are pinching back. Your hips are dropping straight down to the ground, so nice straight spine here. Chest is lifted in 3, 2, 1, dropping straight down. Elbows go straight back all the way up. 2, keeping the shoulders down away from the ears the whole time. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. One more, and 10. Beautiful. Okay, so if you do have tight chest, you can find a wall or a doorway. Take one hand, extend through the fingertips. Start with your chest in alignment with the shoulder and the rest of the arm, and then slowly just shift your body that way. Shift your body away. That is 1, right? You can breathe in through your nose. Think about reaching through your fingertips. If you reach long through those fingertips, you're gonna feel a lot of stretching coming in from the front of that shoulder. And then of course, switching sides. So finding that parallel line for yourself and then slowly shifting open, reaching through the fingers, right? Breathing. So that will be one of the options. The other option, which I will move myself into our cage, is at a door jamb of any sort. You can take a right angle with your arm, and then now let your elbow be like kind of right in alignment with your chest here. And you're just gonna, again, do the same thing, shifting your body open. It's gonna get a little bit of a different portion of your pectoralis, and then you can get that stretched out there a little bit. There's so many ways to stretch your pecs, but this is one of them. And then you can make sure that you're doing the same on the other side, remembering to breathe. Taking a few moments each time. And again, it's really helpful to do these stretches either at the very end with a holding pattern, so holding for 30 to 60 seconds, or in the middle of your sets, just doing like a couple of breaths and then releasing. We don't, again, want to overstretch our muscles, especially when we're about to put them under load. So just a little bit of mobilization, a little bit of opening, as our lovely instructor Phoenix calls it, which I love. She calls it an apology. So a little bit of a muscular apology where you take the muscle in the opposing direction that it just was contracted under to bring it back to its natural length. So you guys, that's it for our first tricep. Take some time, breath, and we'll see you in 90 seconds. All right, you guys, so let's get into our second round of triceps. So we're gonna start with a 60-second hold for our wonderful dumbbell or barbell hip thrust. So we'll start with that to really get that engagement. Your glutes should already be pre-engaged for this, by the way, but this will really solidify that experience. And then we'll move right into lateral to front shoulder raise for 10 reps in either direction. So it's gonna be a lighter weight, something like 5 to 7.5 pounds or 8 pounds, something like that. And then we'll go right into a core exercise that's gonna be using a bench. You can also do it on the chair, but it's really helpful if you have a bench because there's something to hold on to. And let's get started here. So I'm just gonna grab my timer, and I just learned a new thing, and I can just tell Siri to put a timer on for 60 seconds. Isn't that fun? So we're going to get started here. And as we go into this, so if you are using a barbell, for this one particularly, I would love if you used a barbell. It just allows for you to really get a little bit more weight on it. If you're using dumbbells, you likely know how to use dumbbells by now. And so I will ask you to place them head up, fold them over your lap, and then we can get into position from that place. So as we move in here, you're gonna sit as close as you can towards the bench, getting the tops of your shoulders situated on top of that bench. And then you can take your hands and pull them underneath your knees to get your hips a little bit closer. From here, I will generally place my heels on the ground. From here, I'm gonna keep my chest lifted. My shoulder blades are resting on the bench. I'm gonna inhale through my nose, exhale, engage my abs, push my hips all the way up and say, Siri, set a timer for 60 seconds. And she didn't listen. So I'm gonna do it right now here anyways. Here we go. Okay, you guys, so from this position, we want heels directly underneath the knees, hips are high, underhand grip. So from that underhand grip, it's gonna allow me to use my core to help to keep me in this position. From here, what I'm doing is I'm thinking about engaging my glutes, rib cage down, driving my arms into the bar, which helps me to actually engage my upper abs, which helps everything else to stay in alignment. And then from here, I'm gonna think about inhaling through my nose, exhale through my mouth, tuck my pelvis under a little bit more, engaging my glutes and abs a little bit more and doing it all again. So inhaling through the nose, exhale, engaging glutes, hips driving up, a couple more breaths just like that, inhaling through the nose, exhale, last one, inhale, exhale, and slowly release it back down. Excellent, excellent. And you can go ahead and roll that guy out. So just for a weight perspective, I'm actually starting here with 235s. This bar is 45 pounds. So I am doing this with 115 pounds. I actually haven't done isometric holds for a hot second. So this to me feels like a solid weight to start at today. And I'm probably gonna continue it throughout this particular day. However, as I move into the next weeks, I'm absolutely gonna increase that weight. The way that we're able to increase our strength in isometric holds is massive. So if you feel like you can increase in weight in this position, I highly recommend it because it's going to increase your ability to produce force, your strength, your glute size, like all of these different things are gonna happen if you're able to get strength up in your isometric holds, and it allows you to do it safely and with control. So get off my soapbox for a second there. We're gonna move right into our front to lateral shoulder raise. So, grabbing our weights, feet are gonna be stacked right there underneath your knees. So in a neutral position here, elbows are facing inwards, slightly bent, engaging through those glutes, abs are engaged as well. And we're just gonna bring those arms out to the side, forward, down, and forward, side, down. That's one. We're gonna go for 9 more in each direction. So as I'm going through this, you can kind of see that I'm not raising my arms above the line of my shoulders. So the reason why I'm not doing that is because when I do, it starts to turn on my upper traps, and I'm not looking for that. So in order for me to keep the range of motion in the right place, I have to actually think about squeezing underneath my armpit slightly, which keeps my lats engaged, which keeps my shoulders rotating in their appropriate line of motion. Okay, here we go. This is when it starts to get a little spicy. So this is gonna go into 4, on my count, 4 left. And then we got 3. And still that slight bend of the elbows stays the entire time. 2, 2, last ones, and last one here. Excellent. And by the time our third set is done, those are going to be very effective. So we're gonna go right into sorry, that was probably loud for a sound check. We're gonna go right into a bench leg raise. So for this particular exercise, I invite you to have a bench if possible. If not, you can go ahead and do this on the ground, arms by your side. It's essentially like a leg raise on the ground. But what we're able to do here when we do have a bench is get a little bit more leverage with holding our arms behind our head. So from here, I'm gonna get myself situated so that my elbows are coming up around my head. I'm pulling on the bench. I'm gonna start with my low back pushed into the floor. I'm going to allow my legs to drop down past the edge of the bench, and then I'm gonna curl up here slightly so my hips are raised, and then slowly release back down. So here we go. So I'm gonna exhale, curl up here slightly, with control, release back down, trying to keep my low back pushed into the floor. And up, and slowly coming back down. Here we go. And up, slowly back down, keeping this slight bend of my knees. Up, slowly back down. Going for about 5 more on my count. Really trying to keep the descent nice and slow so that you're actually using your abs to slow down the movement pattern. Last 3. Good. And 2. 1 more here. And coming on up. Okay, you guys. So again, you can do that one on the ground, and I will demo on the ground for you guys for the next one so you can get a sense of the difference. But those are our 3 exercises here. So we have our isometric glute hold, either with dumbbells or your barbell. We've got our lateral to front shoulder raises, and then our leg raises on the bench or on the floor. So grab some water, take a few moments, and we'll see you in 90 seconds. Okay guys, let's get into our round 2. So either using your dumbbells or your barbell setup. I got our timer going. We're not relying on Siri anymore here. Okay, so getting yourself set up, making sure that your shoulders are set right on the top of the bench or chair that you're using. You can grab your knees, pulling yourself nice and close here, and then taking a nice inhale, bracing your abs and driving those hips up, and we are on the clock. So as I'm getting started here, the bar is actually right below my pubic bone. I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. My pelvis is tucking under, rib cage is down, and I'm really thinking about keeping this nice straight line from my shoulders to my hips to my knees, and really keeping this upper body crunch the entire time. So what this does is it's going to allow for our abs to really help to support this contraction, which is going to translate to all of that movement pattern that we were talking about earlier. When you're in your single leg deadlift or your reverse lunge, this is the position that we're trying to get your glutes and your abs to be in to fully engage at the top. So keep breathing here, inhaling through the nose, exhale, engaging, tucking pelvis under, pulling abs in a little bit deeper. Almost there, last 8 seconds. Keep breathing, engaging a little bit more in 3, 2, 1, and slowly drop it down. All right. You can also use a band and place that around your knees as well to further drive those knees out, getting that full glute medius contraction. It really just depends on what you feel like you need to work on with your body. So let's move into our standing front to side shoulder raise. So as we move up to our standing position here, again, we're going to be knees slightly bent, pelvis is tucked under, shoulders are back, head stacked on top of spine, elbows facing in slightly. And here we go, 3, 2, 1, all the way out to the side, forward, down, forward, side, and down. Remembering to engage underneath the armpits to allow the shoulders to stay right in their proper range of motion. And then just continue inhaling through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Keep it going. Good, this is 5 on my count. I keep kind of thinking about resetting the shoulders, so I'm keeping them down and back, engaging underneath the armpits. Glutes are engaged, knees are soft, lower abs are in. Excellent, we got 3 more each direction here. Good, last 2s. And last ones. Beautiful, okay. So I will show you our leg raises from the ground for those of you who may not have a bench. So for this one, your arms can be by your side, right? So you're gonna start with the knees up in that tabletop position. So you should be able to see the tops of your ankles and your toes over the line of your knees. You wanna make sure that your low back is pressed into the floor the whole time. So from here, I'm gonna drop my heels, just tapping them on the ground, and then exhale, rolling all the way up and slowly bringing them back down, tapping the heels on the ground, slowly back down. So the biggest difference here is we don't get to drop the heels below the bench, and we don't have that engagement from pulling on the bench with our arms. So certain parts of this will be easier, certain parts will be harder. Really thinking about using your breath. So inhale to drop, exhale, deepen the abs to push up. Low back stays pressed into the floor as you lower those legs each time, which is definitely the hardest part. Good, we got 2 more just like this. Last one. And you get to roll up like a G. Okay, you guys, so that is our second round. Y'all are doing great. Take some time. We are just about done with our second tri-set, and then we'll go into our finishers. And so take about 90 seconds, and we'll see you in a sec. All right, you guys, round 3, let's do it. If you wanna add more weight, this is your time. And if you are doing this on the 2nd or 3rd week, you're already probably increasing weight. I hope so. So this is your friendly reminder. All right, let's get ourselves set up. Heels close to yourself. You would have already driven your knees into your chest. Shoulders are supported here. Taking lift off in 3, 2, 1. And here we go. So if you do have a barbell, making sure that that bar is directly underneath your pelvic bone. So you are not letting that bar rest on top of the pelvis or the hip bones. It's not comfortable, but your chest is lifted. So you're in an upper body crunch here. Yep. There we go. So driving through those heels, knees are driving out, tucking the pelvis under, underhand grip. So I'm actually driving that bar away from me here again, which helps to engage my upper abs. And I'm breathing. So inhaling through the nose, exhale, tucking the pelvis under a little bit more, pulling my abs in a little bit more deeply. Here we go. Exhale. Nice. We're almost there, you guys. We got about 10 seconds left. Keep breathing. Good, good, good. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and slowly release. Excellent, excellent. Your glutes should feel well attended to. They should feel like they're able to talk. Your lower abs should be feeling it as well. So it's one of those exercises where when it's over, you should really feel like things are active and participating as they should. So last but not least, let's come into that standing position, getting yourself set up. And of course, if you need to adjust your weights for this last round, totally up to you. But again, knees are nice and soft, glutes and abs are engaged, which you should probably feel that already just from what we just did, right? Elbows are facing in towards the center line, slight bend, shoulders pinch back and down. Here we go. So side, forward, down, forward, side, and down. This is 2 and 2. Beautiful. 3, 3. You got it. Keep it going. So shoulders back and down. Keep kind of resetting them each time. This is 4. Keep breathing. Thinking about keeping the chest or the sternum lifted. I was about to call it a sternum, which is the combination of a chest and a sternum, in case you guys are wondering. Okay, here we go. Let's 3, and 3, 2 to go. You should be feeling a little bit of that spiciness in the shoulders, which is good. Last one, either direction. Last one here. And relax those. You can place those bad boys to the side, moving right into our bench leg raises again. So everyone's spine is going to be a little bit different, but again, what we're focusing on here is as we lower the legs, it's going to be more weight on our abs. So it's harder to keep the low back pushed into the ground when you have more weight. So the lower you can drop your legs here, the harder it's going to be, which is why the bench is a level up. So you can choose to do it on the ground or on the bench. And then as you get better, there are different modifications where we can also make this more challenging as well. But we'll stick with this guy for the moment. So either on the floor or on the bench, make sure that you are set in your position, low back pushed into the mat or the bench. Knees are up in 3, 2, 1. Lowering the legs. Exhale, coming all the way up. Inhaling to lower. Exhale up. Inhale. For 3. Slowly lowering it down. And 4. Lower abs stay pushed into the bench or floor. 5. 6. Here we go. 7. And 8. Couple more here. 9. Almost. And last one. Okay, you guys, great job. So that is the last round of our last tri-set. And we have just our finishers to go. So if you want to start drinking some protein now, this is a great time to start adding that protein to your water. And then we'll see you in just a moment for our finishers. You guys, last round finishers. So we're going to start off with what we call blast-offs. So blast-offs are a single leg movement pattern where we're starting with one leg to the side, and then we are driving that knee up in a cross-body motion and jumping on this one leg. That's fun, right? So if for whatever reason you're like, look, I'm not jumping right now, my knees, whatever is happening in your body can't handle it, just simply go into this side lunge and then drive that knee cross-body without jumping. It's totally fine. So we're going to do 10 reps on either side of those. Then we're gonna move into a feet elevated hip thrust. So our back's gonna be on the ground. Go ahead and grab a band, plastic or fabric, and we're just gonna hold that isometric contraction, and then we're gonna go down to the ground, plank, single arm alternating extension. So first one is 10 reps, 15, and then 10 on either arm on that plank position. Going through it 2 times, and then you're done. We are all done. Okay, so we're gonna get started here. So starting off with your one leg, the opposite leg goes to the side. I usually cross my arms here, and we're gonna go into kind of succession. So we're not gonna pause in the middle, but we're just gonna reset and go right into the next one, going for 10 on either side. So here we go, 3, 2, 1, all the way up, cross 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Getting up as high as we can. 8, 9, and 10. Using those arms, they're gonna help. And here we go, other side. And 3, I'll give you guys a little side view. 3, 2, 1. One side definitely feels more coordinated than the other one, which is normal. Keep breathing. Think about light landing. 3, and 2, 1. Good times. Let's go. Onto the ground. So getting our fabric or plastic band onto those knees. You're gonna start with your hips approximately right underneath your knees. Feet are flexed. There's already tension happening here on this band. Arms are by your side. We're gonna go with just body weight movement, full contraction at the top in 3, 2, 1. Hips go all the way up to squeeze glutes and abs, right back down. Keeping that tension driving out into the band the whole time. This is 3, 4. You can kind of let your feet be flexed, but not super flexed, or else you'll find that you might cramp your hamstring. This is 7, 8, good, 9, 10, almost, 11. Here we go, keep driving the knees out. 12, 13, 14, and 15. Holy moly. Here we go. So right from there, moving into our plank to alternate arm extension. Elbows directly underneath those shoulders. Feet can be separate or squeezing together. Chest is lifted here. We're gonna extend one arm and then the next. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Reach and reach. 2, 2. So with this exercise, as I'm reaching those arms, I'm trying to keep the distance between my rib cage and my hips the same the entire time. So I'm not sticking my butt up in the air. Keep breathing. We got 4 and 3 for 2. Last ones. Stretch it out. Good job. Okay, let's do it one more time. Can't wait. All right, so last time, to squeeze all of that glucose, glycogen out of the tissue. We'll start with the leg that feels less capable, because that's just how we like to have fun these days. And let's get started. So getting yourself in that starting blast off position, opposite arm forward, 3, 2, 1, kicking up, cross body, 2, 3, 4, trying to get the hip down as much as you can, 6, 7, oh yes, 8, 9, and 10. That leg is like, really? Just talking to me a little bit. Okay, here we go. Other side. 3, 2, 1, all the way up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep it going, almost there. This is 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Here we go. You guys are so close. Getting that band on, heels on top. Arms can be by your side, or you could extend your arms up toward the sky, which helps to keep the rib cage down. But to be quite honest, this one feels a little bit easier to keep rib cage is down, but here we go. Driving out in those knees in 3, 2, 1. Hips go all the way up, right back down. 2, 3. Driving through those heels. 4, full contraction at the top. 5, noticing I have a straight spine coming down, right up. 6, so I'm rotating around the shoulders and at the hip joint, and that's pretty much it. Good, this is 10. Definitely feeling my hammies and my glutes for 4 and 3, almost 2, last 1. Woo. And here we go, right into our single arm alternating plank extension. Let's go. So arms on the ground, feet can be together or separate. Separate feels a little bit nicer at this point in the game. Pelvis tucks under, rib cage down, chest lifted slightly. 3, 2, 1, sliding that arm forward and switch. 2, 2, 3, 3. As I extend, I'm trying to keep my abs pulling in with that exhale. Trying to keep my hips from shifting as much as possible each time. This is 7, 8, almost 9. Last one's 10. And stretch it out. Beautiful. Coming into a little bit of a pigeon stretch here. So bringing one knee forward, back leg can be extended, and allowing yourself to come down a little bit of a glute and piriformis stretch, as we've done a solid amount of glute work on this day. Congratulations. So you should definitely be feeling, full body here. Full body engagement, activation, strength, breathing. Allowing yourself to just settle. Slowing down the breath a little bit, breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. And congratulating yourself. Great job, you guys. So that is the last day of this current phase. If this is the first time watching it, you have 3 more weeks to kind of focus on the movement patterns, getting that contraction really in place, and seeing how your body responds to this type of movement, and seeing how your body responds to this type of progression, because we went from the first 4 weeks, reps of 15, into the second set of 4 weeks, reps of 12 to 10, and then finally we're here in like the 8 to 10 range. For me, I noticed that 15 rep range starting there creates this incredible balance of mobilization and movement pattern, so that I can bear load a lot easier when I go into the 8, 10, and below rep ranges. So I hope you guys have felt the same, and can't wait to start the next phase with you, and thanks for joining.